All right, welcome back. Today we have another Within podcast, a special edition. I wish I would have known. We are super excited to be in person today.
A new spot.
First time in person. Generally we do these virtually, but today we're going to spend some time together, so we're excited about that. But today's I wish I would have known is all Heidi. Heidi has got some really good I wish I would have known, since this was her baby and her idea that we said, let's do it in a podcast format instead of writing a book. But maybe we should do both. Anyway, Heidi, tell us a little about your I wish I would have known, which is a really good one.
Yeah. Like Allie said, I have plenty of them, but I thought this would be a good one for kind of Valentine's Day, but also just kind of a tribute to my kids. When my kids were 18, so I have a son and a daughter, one is now 24, one is now 21. But when they were 18, so separately, I asked them, what could I have done to be a better mom? And ironically, coincidentally, they both said, we wish you would have taught us how to eat better. So our nutrition. And I was like,
And for the record, they're both athletes.
Yes.
So athletes in high school, one's a collegiate athlete. So they're both athletes.
And so, I'm kind of my mind, well, I wish I would have known, but now I do know. So I'm going to go ahead and change things. And so that's when I really started getting more focused on just, our whole nutrition. Because quite frankly, none of us were eating all that well if the kids weren't eating well, and very active in sports, like you said. So I can't count or don't even really want to admit how many times we went through a drive-through.
Mm-hmm.
Busy. On the way to or after, so probably even not even fueling their bodies before some of the practices that they were going into, and instead eating before they're getting ready to go to bed. And so that's really what started, I would say, our kind of our whole health journey, if you will, and just better understanding, because by this time Brooklyn is a collegiate athlete, went off to college to play soccer, and when she ended up her freshman year, ended up having gut issues, and so it kind of just kind of put everything to kind of the fast pace as to what are we going to do, and that's really what started our family on more of a holistic approach to our health and our health journey, and really that's what introduced us to fasting as well, a little bit, I would say more so Ward, my husband, and I, and then also Brooklyn, maybe not Nick so much, but yeah. So, but I mean, again, and when you think about it, our kids these days, so, not my 20-somethings, but your kids, they're going to be on social media, and it's amazing what they learn from TikTok. So they're much more aware than like when my kids were growing up as to, what nutrition is, or who's influencing
We always
nutrition.
Talk about protein in our house.
So
I'm crazy about it. Like, you can't eat that candy. Like with Valentine's Day, they all came home with this massive bag of candy, and I'm like, oh my God. But it's like, no, eat your protein. And then, it's very interesting that they even that was what they thought about at 18.
Well, and separately.
Yeah.
So both of them said the same thing, 2.5 years apart.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
Maybe that just shows how much more that's coming up in conversation, that they even knew that was something.
Yeah.
Well,
and you look at all this stuff now, GLP.
Right.
Like you said, just the awareness around food, what we're doing with our administration right now with ultra processed and making people more aware as to what's in our food. I'll admit, I grew up on ultra processed food. They grew up on ultra processed food.
We didn't know any different at that point. Yeah.
So everything was non-fat.
Right.
And now it's like, holy cow, that was, and so it's just, it's a learning and a relearning and a constant learning.
Right.
Because even like when I started the fasting journey, Ward and I did a program and lost some weight via fasting, but I learned that intermittent fasting is very different for a male than it is a female. Wish I would have known.
Yeah.
The person that was guiding us through that journey at that point in time just said, intermittent fasting, you guys do it the same, and so forth. But I then learned that intermittent fasting and fasting for women is different because of our hormones versus male hormones.
That's even a
lot of wish I would have known in this.
That's what I was going to say. That's like a whole other conversation.
Yep.
Like the whole GLP thing, people are, oh, it works for me, it doesn't. And it's like everybody's bodies responds differently to everything, whether it's, the menopause stuff that a lot of people talk about, or food, like how your body processes, like everybody's body processes, metabolizes different, like all the things. So.
Yeah. So true.
And then you think about it, and you guys probably all, I mean, we all are a product of our own environment, is what I've oftentimes said. But it is a matter of, just setting your kids up for success as much as you can.
Right.
I mean, as I continue to read more and more about just the whole foods and, the types of foods. Still, even you can't guarantee that the fruit that you're getting in the grocery store is so that can get a lot, kind of carried away or out of hand when you look at it. But it is really just what can we do as early on to set your kids up for success, because their gut health really attributes to their brain,
everything, like how they learn,
energy,
how they
So it's just I wish I would have known.
Yeah, that's a good one. How did you even think to ask that question? Like that's very like self-aware of you to even ask. I mean, that's like a bold question to ask. Like,
and at that point in time, they were both
most
18,
people would
so
not
adults.
ask that question. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm vulnerable enough to ask.
Yeah,
Heidi asks a lot of questions. Remember?
True. That is true. Yeah. No, I think cool that you asked them that question and just like, what? I just never would have thought to ask that.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't want to know.
And maybe now that your kids are younger, start now, get a question at the age of 10 or whatever, and then ask again.
You're really good about nutrition at your house. Like I know we are, not that we don't have great nutrition habits now, but I think living like on the road, like we feel like we're on the road all the time, right? Yep. So every night we have something similar to, I'm sure, how it was when your kids were little. So it's like, how do you pack a healthy snack? And, teaching them. So we've really tried to teach them.
Yes.
We're not going to pick out your snacks. Like, you have access to whatever you want, and they're all healthy options, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they choose really healthy, and sometimes they choose maybe not so healthy. But I know, and your girls are even younger than mine. So like, how do you incorporate the nutritional things, nutritional talk, and but you also don't want to create this, and I'm like so afraid of the eating disorders, and that's like a huge thing, and social media does not help with that. So how are you with your girls, helping create these like healthy habits that won't lead to like, the eating disorder issues?
And I get nervous about that sometimes too. Like Olivia, she's going through a growth spurt, which is my 5-year-old, and like her pants are all tight right now. And I'm like, oh God, get her bigger pants so she doesn't have this like fear, right, of like putting on pants and her belly's hanging over it or whatever. And it's like, you're just growing, but they don't understand that. So Whole Foods was a huge journey of mine. Just like I hadn't ever even thought about I think we think about but we thought like the low fat or your special K bars that are 100 calories, that's going to get me through the morning, right? Like, no, it's actually full of sugar and all the things. So as I went through my journey and added in the epigenetics, kind of understood what was challenging my body. At the end of the day, like your body, like as much as technology in our world has changed, our bodies have not, right? So like our body doesn't know how to take in this EMF and expel it out of our body. So then it sits there as a heavy metal or whatever it might turn into. And so anyway, I got extremely passionate about foods and what we put in our bodies and what's in our fridge to grab as a fast snack. And it's just kind of become like our every Sunday morning, we all cut veggies and we all prep our snack packs, is what we call them.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if in the front seat of my car right now, we have a massive, like little lunchbox that has like snacks and stuff that are just like non-processed, or if they are processed, it's as whole grain or organic as possible. So, I use the example, my father-in-law always jokes that if you had a cookie and an egg, a hard-boiled egg, my kids will eat the egg, literally. And it's just, they don't know different, right? One of it's out of self-defense. If it's in my house, Matt and I are going to eat it. And so, don't have it in the house. But it's otherwise it just is like, what's the protein that's going to fuel your body? And they're 3 and 5, and my 3-year-old talks about eating the protein first just as much as the other. So again, we didn't know. I didn't know when I was going through my crazy journey that, just that the whole foods that you put in your body, it really does, or not. Like if you're doing the processed food, it really does just like kill your gut and your gut lining and all that stuff. So
I love seeing my kids and even younger kids reading labels.
Yes.
So if it isn't a whole food and they're having to buy a bag of chips, for instance, to go to a Super Bowl party, they're really intentional about the products or the ingredients that are going into the products that they're buying.
Yeah. And I think you do just have to be mindful and like listen at like educate yourself, because I think especially along my journey, like I learned that my body cannot process lettuce, right? So I was eating pizza and a lettuce on my birthday one year, and I'm like, I got so sick, and we assumed that it was the pizza. And then lo and behold, I had a salad the next week, and I had the same thing happen. And I was like, holy shit, like I think I actually cannot eat the lettuce. So like to this day, I don't eat lettuce. So it's like being aware, being mindful, educating yourself, like doing stuff like listening to podcasts. Like that's what I'm so excited about our community, being able to provide those resources, because it is a lot. Like it's a lot to spend an extra hour in the grocery store looking at labels, and what you think might be okay is not, or you think is good coffee is actually moldy. Like you do have to also give yourself grace that like it's not going to be perfect. So. Mm-hmm.
And I would just say, well, all that said, it's just another wish I would have known. And hopefully this is helping you just kind of think about that part of your journey with your kids, and starting earlier than later. But again, even if you are having an 18 or 20-year-old or even a 50-year-old, it's never too late to learn and start.
Yeah, totally. Well, thanks for joining us on this latest episode of A Wish I Would Have Known.